Thank you very much. And hello, Chris. Well, welcome to the Hannover Fair.
Yeah, hello, Andre. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I heard from you that you are facing now a wave of new investments and you are facing some challenges. Share with me a little bit, what are you facing today? What are the challenges that you have?
Yeah, we're at a pivotal moment in our company, so we want to have new investments for manufacturing, especially focusing on innovative technologies such as AMRs, but also humanoids, but combining them with older technologies like AGVs, but also manual forklifts. And our idea is to be future-proof and really scalable and have the whole system be replicable about throughout all our similar plants.
Yeah, I understand you. So challenges in replicating and scaling solutions is a topic and that I'm hearing a lot today from a lot of companies that are very similar to yours. Like they have, well, they're global, they have a global presence, global footprint. And I see a pattern there. So mostly three main challenges that you guys are facing. One of those is there consumer people like ourselves, we want even more personalized products, right? So the individualization of the product, of the production, is a huge challenge. You have a huge variety, complexity in the shop floor, in the production, in the supply chain. Another challenge that I see here is as well that you are global, but you have local suppliers. So we call that interesting localization, right? So it also makes the supply chain even more complex, right? So every factory works a little bit different because they have a different supplier. And one of the biggest worry in my point of view is the regulation, that it keeps changing. We have different regulations around the world. And the topic here, the challenge of yours probably is, you tell me if it's true, that the investment that you do today, the decision of a technology that you do today might not be compliant anymore in a couple of years, right? Making you changing and doing that from the scratch, right? The flexibilities here are key.
Yeah.
How do you see that?
So flexibility is key, and also for our purchasing departments to have comparable solutions so that we can have the same solutions throughout all the factories. Even if they have individualized problems and solutions that they are facing, we need to be able to compare the solutions we want to buy and implement in our factories, whilst also not limiting us with the flexibility that we need now, but also in the future.
So let me give you a thought, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, right? So if you want to add those elements, kind of AMRs or humanoid robots, most of the companies they think that the risk is in the machine itself, which type of machine, the mechanical, the kinematics, and so on and so forth. I see that differently. I see that the main risk is the way they interoperate, the way the system works with each other. The risk is the missing interoperability. So what I mean by that is, so let's think about people, right? So if I have people on the shop floor working together, they speak the same language. They have a coordinator, a team lead, for example, and they speak the same language. If you have more teams, they probably will coordinate with each other. If they do not coordinate with each other, you start seeing silos and you start seeing inefficiency. I like to compare with the Tower of Babel. At the beginning, everybody's working very dynamic and very efficiently towards the same goal, and everything is good. But the way as long as it gets more complex and larger, the inefficiency, the conflict starts to appear. And the same thing we see with machines. So we have proprietary solutions that do not talk with each other. At the beginning, it might work. The problem is when your production gets more complex and the supply chain, and there we are going to start to see the complexity. And talking about machines, if you have a machine that has a proprietary solution, it creates for you even this vendor lock-in effect, right? So does it sound familiar to you?
No, that sounds like what we are facing. So
Right.
exactly with this locking that we want to avoid in the effect.
So if talking about these challenges and problems that you have, let's just see about the impact of it. So if you have to every solution that you buy to your factory, it increases, of course, the capex or the total cost of ownership, and proprietary solutions add to that even more. For example, if you have a complete proprietary solutions or a new factory, you need more training for the personnel, more maintenance, more spare parts that differ to others. And it even creates dependency to those suppliers. So some of those proprietary solutions can only be maintained by the suppliers itself. And the thing is, if you do an investment, we talked before that the factories, they work differently, right? So if you do an investment today in your factory, create a solution for your factory. If you want to scale that, to replicate that in other factories, probably the system won't work the same way. And other factories are forced to change the existing system, what it's already working. And then it will create a resistance automatically by the suppliers, right? So the other factors will naturally resist, and the replicability is threatened.
Yeah, that's what we are facing. Also, most of the suppliers that we are talking to are only offering black box solutions, so you can't really have a look into what is the system actually doing and understanding it. And also that would lead us to be more tightly bound to that supplier in the future to see really how they are doing it and what they are where they are going from there. And we don't want to lose the freedom of deciding what's the best solution for our factory, for our plants, and have the freedom and flexibility in the future to decide and pivot maybe to other solutions that we want to implement.
Right. So let me just, if I understood it correctly, to make it more visual. So, and also putting those topic of black box together in a more comprehensive way. So you have a factory, a system, production that is working efficiently, very automated, and you want to expand that for different reasons, right? So you have an increase of production volume, you want to add a different product, or you want to increase the warehouse, whatever. But this is working. Now you are going to add a new solution, a proprietary one, that is not directly working with that. They have some interoperability issues, or it's just like that. At the beginning, it might work, but as the conflict starts, because they are not interoperable, you have two options. Either you integrate both, make them communicate with each other. First, nobody knows if it's going to work properly, how the impacts are going to be in the existing production. Or you separate them both physically, where you are going to lose then the flexibility that you like to add with those kind of solutions, right? Both ways, in my point of view, they cost time, they cost money, and limit your freedom to act in the future, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we want to avoid. We want to have that freedom in the future and avoid, but still invest in an innovative way today. So to use the latest technologies that are out there, but still be able and flexible for the future.
That is the key point. So our vision, and the way I see it, is that you should be always able to decide for the fittest, for the right machine, for the technology, or even the partner that you want in this point in time, without having to change your existing process just to make it work, right? And there is why we put a different question at the center. How can we ensure that not only today you can decide for the best technology, but also in the future to the best technology and application for your system? We see here the way in doing that, you need three pillars. You need three core elements to ensure that. First, the simulation across the life cycle, from the planning of the production, for the integration, and even for the operation itself. Everybody knows that simulation boosts revenue, helps to improve the product itself, helps to optimize material flow and integration of mobile units in general. The second topic is ensure the standardization. Standardize the way everything communicates. It's like telling, here we are going to speak the same language so everybody can understand. It also helps you setting norms or standardization for cybersecurity or safety, because if you are based on standards and nothing proprietary, as the norms and regulations change, you are going to remain compliant to those, which saves you time and reduce the risks, right? And the third part is having an orchestration system that talks to everything the same way. It makes that the elements that are below this orchestration are interchangeable. So you are no longer dependent on a single supplier, right? Am I going to the direction? What do you need something
that
like
sounds
that?
exactly like a system we would be looking into, yeah.
That's great. So, and that is why we are developing what we are developing. The system that we're developing, it's called, as a platform called Siemens Fleet Manager, and it is much more than only a fleet management system, as the name suggests. It's a platform that first, it enables you to simulate not only the complete material flow, but also the interaction between the existing system that you have and the new one. You also can dimension your investment, giving you an informed decision where you no longer have to decide blindly what you're going to invest, first of all. Second topic, when you are standardized, this platform helps you standardize this layer, helping in the helping to ensure safety and cybersecurity regulations worldwide, and reducing the risks and costs in the integration with existing systems. First, second topic. Third one, I like to compare Fleet Manager as we say in the Lord of the Rings. That's one that rules all. You have one system that knows what is in the shop floor, talks to everyone, regardless of the automation level, if it's automated or not even automated. If you have people, they need some orders, Siemens Fleet Manager can do it. It is management of fleets, regardless of what it is. And for me, the added value of this platform is that you, as a manufacturer, stays in control of all changes if necessary. You can do the changes by yourself if you want so. You can decide for a partner of our ecosystem, or even ask us to do that for you. You decide all from the beginning and to the end. Does it sound like it's something that you are looking for?
Yeah, that sounds like the system we're looking for. Still flexible in the future, but also very innovative right now with a lot of integration.
That's cool. And the thing is, our idea is that you can decide in every moment of your decision, of your investment decision, who does what and when. And at the same time, the solution can be used globally. For example, you do this today, and you want to scale to another factory that has a little bit different process, and they can do the changes by themselves, maintaining the core principle of the application. It's remain replicable and scalable. And guys, just that you know, and Chris, we are showcasing exactly that in our Station 58 and in our CPG demonstration. And it's not only a product demo. We created there a blueprint for a scalable and replicable, flexible production. And it's future-proof. And I hope you enjoy that. I hope you can go there and see and ask as many questions as possible.
Yeah, we should definitely go there and have look at that at a concrete example and plant that we're looking into.
That's great. Cool, Chris. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.